This morning, I kind of want to talk to you about some issues that I see in Louisiana here. Talked to a friend earlier. He was telling me about his marriage and how his wife called the cops on him, and it's just crazy how a mate would betray, their friend or whatever, and that's what I'm realizing. I'm comparing Shreveport blacks to New Orleans blacks. In Shreveport, it's like we have, I don't know, it's like a few years ago, like 2010 or something, there were like 6 kids that drowned in the Red River. And the reason why they drowned was one went out and started drowning, so another one went out to get him or her or whatever, and eventually, it ended up 6 people trying to help the next person, and they all lost their lives. There's also the Cedar Grove riot, whereas we had a situation where a white woman killed a black guy and we wanted justice or something like that, and they decided to riot. The store that was housing the woman, who in effect was protecting her as well. So you go down to New Orleans, it's friends killing friends, and there's a lot of jealousy and envy down there for some reason. And it's crazy, it's because they seem like the most racist as far as angry at whites, but they're also destructive, to their own people, blacks, and so forth. And I've got to start at the root, it's mother and father. Let's understand that, a kid grows up, they don't know, they're not asking to come into this world and so forth. So they're not unaware of the hardships, the difficulties, and so forth. And what is happening is we're having these women create hardship for these kids because of their betrayal, And the thing about it is, down in New Orleans, you got Jefferson Parish. Jefferson Parish, the way they treat domestic violence calls is they take both parties to jail, because typically, I'll say like this, like my mama said, it takes 2 to tango. So if a domestic violence call is called to this location, cops show up, both parties are guilty. If anything occurred, there's provoking, there's public peace or disturbance of the peace or whatever, and that's what I'm like. We got to charge both parties, and down in New Orleans, like I said, it's typical for the woman to lie. Me myself, okay, I've been to jail several times off of female lying on me. And the thing about it is typically it's probably the mother of my kids, so it's even that more, I guess, sinister or low, and this is what I have to contend with. Accepted behavior. Society condone behavior or whatever, or the accepted norm here is for women to betray their men, and all right, let's look at all the stats. Louisiana, number 5 in women being killed. Because of this madness that is perpetuated, I say it's the new Jim Crow, because there's a lot of stuff and it's all devised to keep us divided, and that's where, where I'm looking at, all right, I need my mate to have played sports, to been in a club, so she'll understand teamwork and so forth. And that's what I'm realizing is a lot of people don't understand the value and quality of teamwork, and like I said, it also, you're getting in these relationships and they're defaming your character. They're making you, appear something that you're totally not, which everyone betrays me as violent. No, I'm not violent. I'm more passive. I'll say, as far as, let's say, I don't initiate fights. You're not really likely going to find me being the first person that threw a punch or the instigator to a fight or whatever. I walk off because it's a waste of my time. But yet still, it's like whenever you get involved and other people get involved, they're going off of misinformation, and shit just gets worse and worse and worse. Like the situation I'm in presently. Here I'm going to court for violation of a protective order when the protective order never should have been in place. I have no domestic violence, no stalking, no date raping, no child violence, domestic violence against my child, or whatever, and so forth. And these are the categories which say that, hey, this warrants a protective order. So therefore, it's like the judge made. I guess she should be charged as a criminal because there's no justification. And what happened is I end up being falsely imprisoned, wrongly imprisoned, which is a felony. So therefore, the actions of the judge should be considered criminal. And once this is said and done, it's like I'll probably get no conviction or whatever. But the real issue of the judge being charged or the woman being charged for filing a false report is never addressed. And therefore the problem continues. There's no correction. There's no negative reinforcement psychology, and that's the whole thing. There's a lot of people out here that have mental issues, and we're not really addressing it. We're not, recognizing the issues, And like I said, these no-fault divorces, you should not be eligible for, especially child support. You file a no-fault, that means that your spouse is not at fault. That's what you're saying in legal documents. And then you go to court and you say that, hey, that I need child support. No, you created the situation. And you basically said that this guy or this parent is not at fault in your divorce decree. No fault divorce. So it's kind of like, it's like a lot of the stuff. It's not common sense. People are not really thinking about what's going on, and I realize egos and so forth, especially with these people that put in positions of power, which they don't understand that you're a public servant, man. If you're not really doing justice to the public, then, you're not doing your job. You have a job description, and that's basically what it is. This is a job, and if you're not adhering to the requirements, then, hey, we need to get somebody else in there, get you replaced. That's the same thing with a lot of these politicians. What we need now in today's society is leadership developed leaders. We got all these people that are getting degrees and so forth. What leadership training that you go through? The same thing with parents and so forth. When you compare NCO to civilian parent and so forth. Okay, NCO, I went to mostly, primary leadership development course, probably BNOC, basic non-commissioned officers course or whatever. And there's and also, let's say high school. I went through JROTC, which taught me leadership, the authoritarian, the dictator, the totalitarian, or whatever different leadership qualities. At this point, it determines, I got to do this. At this point, I got to do that. This whole, here I am, state champion, 4-time, probably, because I was like JV rifle team. We won state varsity. I'm 3-time state champion. So there's certain groomings that I've had. Let's see, in dignity, and manners, and etiquette, and tact, and that's what these things that I figure that came from the military, training and so forth, is there's poise. A lot of people, they're just, unconcerned about the consequences. And that's the thing. There's so many different things that you got to make sure you take care of as being a leader. It's not just being a boss. Nowadays, everybody just want to tell the person what to do, and that's it. Nah, we need people to get in there and train the other people. We need leadership development and proper training, and that's what I find is a lot of people, they can't explain themselves. They can't verbalize what they're doing to teach the next person a lot of times because they get frustrated. But here in Louisiana, like I said, the problem is we're incarceration capital of the world, right? We have the highest overturned convictions, right? So that's entails there's some real problems with our judicial system. Number three is Louisiana is the highest, well, number 5 on the list of women being murdered. Why? Why is this? Okay, you're imprisoning the men, you're taking you're forcing the kids into single parent households. They're not given, I guess, home training, proper supervision, and so forth. And then, you grow up and they have mental issues or behavior problems and so forth, and then the violence ensues as a cause because we follow Jim Crow and we practice division at the most fundamental level of child development, which is father and mother. We are having these backlashes of violence and crime. That's where it comes from. If you address the people at, let's say, I don't know, some of these racism, we didn't even have a war on racism. Racism, I consider it kind of like Islam, all right? Well, actually, radical Islam. And more or less, the other white people are Islam, right? You got the radical racists, KKK members, and then you got Islam, or the regular white counterparts. Here, these people are doing things, but these people are not telling on them. They're probably even funding them, and that's the way I consider here in Louisiana the mechanism. We have what is it? Homeland terrorism, with the racism, with all this stuff, Alton Sterling. There's no doubt about it that, like I said, there's certain things that we need to address. We need to make sure we bring up the topic and discuss. Whenever this officer killed Alton Sterling, this guy had not been, went to trial. From my viewpoint, it was only in the level of accosting. And in accosting, he had the right to refuse to cooperate. If you're not coming up, I didn't hear him. I'm trying to place you under arrest. I'm trying to put your hands. I want to put you under arrest. I'm going to put you under. No, none of that was in the video. Because you gotta state your purpose. You are a public servant, policeman, right? And you're here. You didn't protect Alton Sterling, sir. An innocent man until proven guilty, and that's what we need to work on as far as the DOJ and everything else. The innocent until proven guilty. If this person was killed in the care of this officer of the law, whether and he not been to trial or whatever, all these other murders that's basically what they are. All these other murders, involuntary manslaughter, man. Come on. Are you serious? You're just letting them off, just, putting them back on the street. Zimmerman, involuntary manslaughter, man. Or negligent homicide. That's basically what it is. All right, you, in the process of you doing your job, a life was lost. You're criminally negligent. Every officer, me myself, instead of all these people that going out, they just shooting any old cops or whatever, this and that. Nah, y'all doing it wrong, man. It's just, I don't condone violence. I'm more or less a non-violent person, but in this day and age, I'm looking at it to where it's like people don't listen until you escalate the situation. And that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. They're making it a problem, but yet still, it's like, unless you properly bring the issue to people's attention, and it seems like you got to, go through all kinds of stuff. So that's where I'm putting in my paperwork for my, my lawyers and this, or my court papers. I'm trying the system. So when I do snap, all right, you got all this paper trail. All right, this guy came to the system. He came to the court. Yeah, he come from come from California. go before Judge Jupiter. She renders an 18-month restraining order after saying that there was no violence. That only thing that she saw that was could warrant anything was a civil injunction. And the civil injunction turned into an 18-month restraining order with Harmony House not refusing to give me service and supervised visitation for my kids. 18 months, right? All right, then I go back. I wait, let the restraining order expire, go back, trying to get a modification. The Judge Lakeisha Urban Knox. Like I said, I go before her. She filed me absent. She said I wasn't even in court. That's incompetence. So then I go back, like I said, I go with a lawyer this time and still get railroaded and sentenced to another 18-month restraining order, protective order. No domestic violence, no stalking, no domestic violence against my kids, no rape. That's what the protective order, it has to be, those laws are what more or less has to be, in place for you to make a protective order. One of these things had to occur. My situation, none of it. I'm not a violent person. I'm a protector. So, shit gets, I can't handle it and something happens. Oh well, I'm human. I'm a man, I'm a person. I bleed. I reach my limits. So it is what it is, cause and effect, because this happened.